Welcome back to the Time for Heroes podcast. Welcome back to the podcast. This week I have Brian and Charlie of the Slow Time Mondays, an indie band from Crawley, who I've just discovered in the last couple of months. So we're going to go back. We're going to start off with their early life growing up and take it from there. So, guys, just tell us what life is like growing up in Crawley.
I think naturally Crawley has a funny undertone to it. When you mention Crawley, people go, "Oh, creepy Crawley."
Yeah.
But I think it's treated us all well. So myself and Charlie went to primary school together, lived on the same road since we were 4 or 5 years old. Spent sort of most of our childhood life and now adult life together. And then equally, the other two members of the band, Billy and Joe, are brothers. But yeah, life in Crawley I think it's treated us well. I think we've done okay.
Yeah.
It's been a good town for us individually, and I think as a band as well. Very well located, being on Gatwick's doorstep.
Mm-hmm.
And gig-wise, we can play in London or be in Brighton within half hour to 40 minutes on a train.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
it's just a working class town in the southeast. Really, it's nice enough. It's just normal. Really, playing football as a kid on the greens, and pretty standard. Really,
It's been good for me. Obviously, Crawley is where my wife's from, so obviously that's how I was down last week. I come down every year, start of July. We come down for 2 weeks, and just delving into Crawley the last couple of years, obviously with the World Cup and all the hype around Southgate, I didn't realise he was for there. But obviously you get Romesh, you've got The Cure, all sorts. Dan Walker, the guy for the BBC. One of the stranger ones I was looking up the day, the Gorillas. The Gorillas, Damon Albarn's band, obviously they're all fictional cartoon characters, but they've all got backstories. And the singer, 2D, is apparently for Crawley. So, take it up.
I did not know that.
Well, check that out once you get off. Obviously, as well as that, we've got a few members of The Feeling and The Cure, probably the most famous band from Crawley. So I see you all met at school then?
Us two did, yeah. We were at primary school, and we're both big Chelsea fans, so we've always gone up to Chelsea as well together.
Right.
And the other two, the front man and the drummer, they're brothers. So they was.
And our sort of parents all sort of knew each other through growing up. So we didn't necessarily know Billy and Joe as kids, but when we were sort of 18, 19, 20 and started, really getting into music, we were then kind of put together because we worked out between our parents that we all played the right instruments. So we got together and had a jam and then went from there. So we kind of knew of them growing up. I knew of Billy growing up, but we weren't kind of mates until we were sort of late teens.
Right. Were these different areas?
Literally 15 minutes, 10 minutes away. But I think it's like with most things, when you're younger, you've got your primary school, and your mates from there, then you'll go on to your middle school or secondary school from there. You've got your mates from there. And it's only really once you start venturing out in the pubs and out on the town on the weekend and you meet other people from other parts of the town, really.
Yeah.
But as soon as we kind of properly got introduced and started jamming, we all just kind of instantly clicked and became really good mates since.
At this point, I think Joe was too young to be even getting into pubs. So we used to stick him in because he's obviously the younger brother.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years younger than us.
Yeah.
So when we were first started out, he was still probably 15, 16. And getting into pubs and venues that we were playing, drinking his sort of Coke out of the
way. So what was your early musical influences? What sort of music were you listening to?
I was all blues music, to be honest with you. When I first picked up the guitar, I never done music in school. I was 15 when I first picked up the guitar, but I had some one-to-one lessons, and the guy Danny Giles was my guitar teacher at the time, and he was a big blues guy, and so he would just play me music he was influenced by, and I just clicked with it. It's raw guitar music, really, and
Right.
yeah. At the same time, probably listen to the stuff my dad would listen to, so like Paul Weller, Bowie, The Clash, that sort of era, all the more revival stuff. So it was a good mix, really, but all guitar-based music, I would say.
Right. And what about yourself?
Yeah, the same here really. I was obviously grew up in my house. It was always the Jam, Madness, Specials, Clash, and so on. Again, all the mod, ska, soul, two-tone. It was always on every day in our house. And as I kind of got older, so I always had that sort of base knowledge and liking of that music. Then I started to discover my own bands growing up, sort of early to mid noughties with sort of the Arctic Monkeys, the Enemy, the Kooks, bands like that. Sort of that indie pop era.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a great time for being a young boy that age. There was so many bands springing up constantly. It was like daily.
It was great, and it was that era with actually buying a CD as well. And it was like going into town or into being in the supermarket. And I remember buying Kasabian's second album because I was probably too young to acknowledge or realise the first. Just like I'd seen them on Soccer AM and was like, that's a cool band. I want to listen to them. And you'd just have that on in the car or at home and stuff constantly. So it started off that, and then from then, so I kind of took my dad's sort of music influence, made it my own, and then I now send him bands to go and listen to that we've got to know or we're playing with or we're familiar with. So we've kind of done a little cross. So yeah, that's really good.
Obviously, I spoke to the Magic Mod. I've had him on the podcast, and I've seen him sharing. He shared a lot of stuff about Mike Dobie, which obviously checking on you obviously seems to have quite a big influence in your career. So what was the story behind him? Did he kind of help get the band together?
Yeah, so he was originally, I mean, he'd kind of lived all over the place, predominantly up north, Scottish parents, lived up north. He kind of moved down to
Manchester, wasn't it? I think
Manchester, Blackpool, all over the place.
Yeah.
He moved down to Crawley about 20 years ago. And he basically started playing in pubs and venues around our area. And he got to know our dads and our families and their sort of friends really well.
I think he played my dad's 40th birthday party. And I must have been 13, maybe 14 years old. Not really massively. At 13, 12, 13, I probably wasn't into bands much at all. And then just because I hadn't been exposed to live bands by that age, really. And then watching him, just a man and his acoustic guitar, smashing out all these covers with the energy, the passion he had, everyone having a dance to it, I thought, okay, this is something different, this is cool.
Yeah.
And then it just flowered from there, really, didn't it? I was in Mike's front cover for his first EP.
Right.
Just sitting on a scooter, typical kind of mod photo. I think our drummer, Joe was on it. He was really, really young as well. And from that, he said, "Do you want any payment for it at all?" I said, "No, I don't want anything for it." He went, "Okay, I'll get you a couple of guitar lessons." And that's from there. It's just,
And then he kind of knew our families individually, and obviously he knew us kind of growing up from sort of early teens. And once he kind of knew and saw that we were getting into music and we were playing, I was learning bass, Charlie was learning guitar, Billy could sing, play some guitar, Joe could play everything. So he basically said, "Why don't you guys get together?" He booked us out a few rehearsals. We jammed a few covers. He came along to a few, and then kind of left us to our own devices. And then our first pretty much ever gig we played, he booked out a pub in Crawley called the Snooty Fox, which is a massive pub right outside our main station. It's busy every Saturday night or Friday night because it's the place you go on your way home from work, basically. Or if there's a band on. And he announced it as Mike Dobie presents the Slow Time Mondays. So he came on, did this set, had hundreds of people there, and then went off and said, "Right, over to you guys." And we kind of looked at each other like, right, let's go do it. So he just kind of gave us this massive leg up, really, especially in the town and in the area. So people automatically just would follow us on the basis that Mike was pushing us and promoting us, and he had kind of given his word. And so then for a few years, any gig we could, he'd be involved in ours, or we'd be involved in his. And it was just such a massive supporter and promoter of our music, and made such an influence. Was it recently you had Ben on? Did he do
probably about a year ago.
Right.
If you get back, you'll get them on the back catalogue. But
good.
I mean, I only listened to Mike last week, and music's brilliant. The music's a brilliant standard.
Yeah.
It's kind of criminal that he wasn't out there and like gigging to like the proper level that he should have been. But obviously he must have seen something in yous to maybe for yous to kind of do what he wasn't able to do.
Yeah, he absolutely had such a massive influence on us. He introduced us to Smiley, Steve Barnard. He's got a studio down in Hampshire where Mike was recording all of his stuff. And he said, I've got this band. They've only just started writing their own stuff after being a covers band. Once they're ready, I'll put you guys in touch. I think you'll work really well together. So even since Mike's passed away, we're still in touch with Smiley. We recorded our whole album with Smiley. We've got such a great relationship with him now. All, kind of on the link up that Mike gave us, really.
Yeah.
And say all the Mike stuff was produced and recorded there. And it's nice that we go back there and still use the same things, the same equipment that Mike was using for all his stuff, previously.
Yeah, it's brilliant to keep that link. Obviously, you touched on when you started out, you were predominantly a covers band. On your first EP, I think it was, you had the Toots and the Maytals cover, which I thought was brilliant. It's a brilliant take on it, and it's an iconic song to cover. I don't think I've heard many people do it as well as that. So where did that come from? Was that your parents, or was that Mike Dobie's kind of style of music?
Yeah, Mike definitely played a lot of ska songs and made them his own. Just playing it with an acoustic and with all the energy and stuff. I guess we took that on board. I can't remember whether he covered 54, 46 or not, but he definitely covered that sort of era, that sort of
all those ska and soul, northern soul tunes. He'd managed to strip back and make it his own and make it sound like a rock record rather than a
and it'd be a medley of about 3 songs in a row. Yeah, something would just click in his head and he'd go into another song and just keep the ball rolling and rolling. Which is obviously a big skill to have, isn't it? Really, it's harder to do as a band, but
I think it's one of those songs that once we started playing it, and when we still, even if we're doing a set of originals now, we would still chuck that in if we've got a bit of time somewhere in the set, because it's not your typical Oasis, Beatles sort of cover that you hear in a pub every Friday or Saturday night. And you can get away with playing it in a venue because it's so different, and we have our own take on it. We love playing it. And it always gets a reaction. Even people that might not know the song, they somehow subconsciously do know the song, and it comes back by the chorus. But that was one that when it came to recording the EP 4 or 5 years ago, we said it would be good to get some sort of cover on, and it made sense to put that in because it was so different. And it was a little nod back to all the covers we were playing and all our influences kind of growing up, really.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, looking back, I've been scouring your Instagram all day today, and the amount of kind of like mod ska kind of gigs that you were playing back then. What was the scene like in Crawley? Was there a lot of bands? Because it doesn't seem that sort of place. Obviously, I've been travelling down there for 2007, and I never knew there was any sort of musical scene, to be honest.
I think the scene pretty much was Mike Dobie, to be honest. He was the one that would constantly draw the crowds in pretty consistently as well. Because there's no proper venues as such in Crawley. They're all pubs, or they're all function rooms of pubs. So there's no out and out venues as such. So it's hard to build up a core following of people that will go out just to watch a band, particularly not knowing who's on. A lot of people go down to Brighton.
Yeah.
If you want like an actual mod weekend or a mod night, mod band, you're either going up to Camden, somewhere like that, or down to Brighton. We're kind of stuck in the middle. But yeah, Charlie was saying there's no real venue as such. It was something that Mike kind of did. He would just turn up to a pub and you would know all week or months leading up to it, oh, Mike Dovey's playing at so-and-so pub that Saturday night. And it kind of opened our eyes as well, because you're suddenly seeing hundreds of people turning up in Fred Perry's, Ben Sherman's, nice Harrington's, Parker's, nice like trousers and desert boots, loafers, and just opened opened our eyes to this whole sort of world of this mod culture that still exists from people or in this mod revival scene, like our parents, from in sort of the 80s and so on. It was still living and people still loved that music. And when you were going into a venue and hearing this sort of stuff, that's kind of how it started, really. And it's been quite nice that we kind of have helped pass the baton on as such. When we were doing the covers, we were still doing a lot of those songs that our parents listened to and liked and had passed on to us. As a scene, there's so many bands going on. There's always open mic nights, gigs, and so on. But yeah, as we were saying, there's not a venue as such in Crawley, which has been a slight hindrance to us.
The thing is, I mean, those pubs they're all pretty big, like spacious wise. Like obviously, I've been in the Snooty Fox, I've been in the Grasshopper in Tilgate, I've even been in that function suite at Crawley's Stadium. So they're all pretty big, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as you're growing, you must be able to get quite a crowd in these places.
Yeah, we do. So we did the Snooty Fox New Year's Eve. We're doing the Grasshopper. They've got a really big function room out the back of the normal pub, which holds just over 400 people. So next week we're announcing a big sort of homecoming gig back there. We're doing there in October, just off the back of a small tour we're going on. So they are great.
Yeah.
It's good. They say there's good sized rooms that we go in, we get a stage put in, full lighting and sound system, and just turn it into a music venue for the night. And it's great to do it.
I think they always look bigger for me. I mean, I used to, when I was down there, I'd go out with my father-in-law, maybe like midweek or that, and the pubs are dead then, so they always look bigger, and you think, let's see what's going on in here. But I've never been out at the weekend. That's Doug's trying to attack me like him. So, I mean, early on as well, you get support slot with Glenn Matlock as well for the Sex Pistols. How did that come about, and how did it feel playing the same lineup as?
I think Mike probably brokered that deal as well, didn't he? With the owner of the Balkan Club. So the Balkan Club's got a big function hall next to it, like a really old school looking. It looks like a big hall, really. It's got a proper built-in stage, all like the paintwork and the artwork on the ceilings, that sort of thing. So it's a really nice room to play in. And again, Mike used to play open mic nights quite regularly
in the main pub.
In the pub. So he knew the landlord very well. And again, we joined the few open mic nights with him. You get to know people, you do a bit of networking, and that's how it went about. I think the landlord just took a liking to us and put our name forward for it.
It's brilliant getting these wee chances and these wee leg ups, because you can see how it's helped you throughout your career. Obviously, I mean, your career's in its infancy now, but it's the wee little things at that point that help you to get to where you are and take you to the next level. 2019 then is you started releasing music. April you brought out a single, May you brought out another single, and then you released the full EP in the July, which garnered a bit of radio play for BBC Introducing as well. So how much did that help the band grow, getting that sort of exposure?
It definitely helped, and it's a good one to add to the CV. So when you're talking about a song or a single, you can say it was playlisted by BBC Introducing. She Likes Dancing was the first one that it kind of got repeat plays. It kind of ended up on one of their playlists for a few weeks, and that built up a lot of traction. We built up a lot of new followers, and so from that, and because it's only being played in the southeast, so for us it was going out to Surrey, BBC Surrey and BBC Sussex. And we noticed a big increase in followers, Spotify listeners, and so on, just from that one single alone. I mean, today that's still become our biggest song. that's kind of carried with us, and it's still a big tune. But
it's definitely the most radio friendly song, isn't
Yeah.
it? I would say, yeah, catchy, yeah.
It's got. Do you know what it reminded me a bit of Viola Beach? Can you mind them?
Sure.
yeah,
It's got a wee tinge of that. But I mean, obviously, once we get onto the album, obviously that I hear a lot of different influences in it, which I don't know if when I throw them at you, whether you'll agree or whether you'll have thought that they were your influences at the time. But you can definitely hear different styles of music in it. The following year, he brought out another 2 singles, Sweet Life and Feel This Way, and you played This Feeling gig as well.
yes,
Was that your first This Feeling gig with the Claws?
that was with the Claws. Yeah, that was crazy because we were familiar with the Claws already. Obviously, they were already on the infancy, and even more so now. They've completely blown up. So we were already sort of familiar with them and half knew some of the members. We had applied to play for This Feeling a good year or so before, and they hadn't heard anything back, and we thought nothing of it. And then randomly popped up with a message to say there's a show in Brighton, we'd like to book you guys. And it turned out we were basically the main support for the Claws.
Yeah.
And with it being that, it was the Claws' first sort of big gig this south, because we were right down in Brighton, the guys that are from Birmingham. So it was really good because we sold well, they sold well, so we kind of played to each other's fans, which was great.
I think we sold probably half the venue out, and that was the thing with Crawley. People do turn up in their numbers. A little bit of a community feel, I think, with us. It feels like anyway. People tend to really turn up in numbers, especially to Brighton. It's only half an hour on the train, but other London venues as well.
Yeah,
do quite well on the tickets.
Yeah, really good.
To get on the This Feeling shows as well is Carol Barat. There's a quote on their website that Carol Barat said that any up and coming band, you'll see them first on This Feeling, which it seems to be getting more and more prominent here the last couple of years, like after lockdown. Really, it's like you're looking at they're doing like a festival, I think, up north in Bridlington or something. They're doing that. So it's the way to go, man. You could just look at that festival bill and just pick all the bands and just put them in the playlist.
It really is that some of the bands that have come through that are now in the mainstream that were really supported by This Feeling, like the Lathams, that have now, that are almost like a household type name. They're on the radio every day, all over the place. Yeah. The Lottery Winners were the same. The Royston Club. Now the Claws are kind of on that trajectory as well. They've been really good in. With us, we're still on our way up. They target you into a city. So for us, it was Brighton. We worked our way up all through the venues of Brighton, and now they then start drip feeding you out into other cities to play into new crowds, but pair you up with bands from the area. To say in October we're doing a tour of Manchester, Cambridge, Liverpool, and all over the place, and it's just such a great way of getting you out there. And if they see something in you, and we get on well with them, all the guys that run This Feeling, they will back you to the hills and put your music to Radio X and so on. Yeah, so they do provide and open so many doors, gig wise, festival wise. It really has been great so far.
So who do you deal with it? Are you dealing directly with like Mikey Johns and that, or is there people underneath?
Yeah, we speak to Mikey and we speak to George as well.
Right. I'm looking at getting Mikey. I'd like to get Mikey Johns on because what he's doing, it'd be a brilliant story to speak with him. So everything's going well, and then COVID.
Yeah.
So COVID comes, and obviously looking at your story and looking at your releases, it seems like, again, it's like a brilliant time. It seems to be the story the last few episodes of the podcast. Like people have had Andrew Cushion on. He'd only just started it probably around about the same time as you, and then obviously COVID came, and it gives you that time to kind of go away and write songs, build up a catalogue, and practice every day and kind of get tighter. So was that your feelings around lockdown?
Definitely a couple of songs written during COVID.
Yeah, a lot of the album was really because that then started the next run of singles and then the new set of songs from there.
Yeah,
it was one of those things though, because when we were normally when we're rehearsing, we're preparing towards the next gig or the next run of shows, or
Mm-hmm.
we're aiming to get something done by this show, or we try to rehearse regularly anyway. And when it all suddenly stopped, like our last gig was we played at the Reds Bar, so the function room attached to Crawley Town Football Club. We played there on the 14th of March. I don't know why I remember the date. 14th of March 2020. And I remember people, even on that day, this thing, COVID, was being spoken about. Oh, there's some cases in Europe. And looking back, there were people definitely coughing. And people weren't well in the venue there.
Yeah.
And so we had 350 odd people all in there.
Yeah.
Looking back, it might not have been wise, but we weren't to know at the time. And then literally 6 days later, everything gets shut down and the rest is history.
Sure.
But yeah, it just kind of put a complete stop to everything. We were still practicing individually. We discussed some new covers to learn just to kind of keep us fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I was writing a lot of lyrics, as you were as well. We would send over to the boys. Obviously, Billy and Joe being in lockdown, but brothers were living together, so they were still jamming and still keeping on top of it. So we did what we could individually, but just couldn't wait to kind of get back out, really.
I think that's what the lyrics were mainly based on, is getting back out and trying to imagine the feeling of actually, everything is opened up, you can see all your mates, you can go down the pub normally. Like Rodeo was definitely written like that. You done
Let's Make Plans.
Let's Make Plans, yeah.
Yeah, our first. Yeah, I think it was one of the first singles post-lockdown.
Yeah.
And the whole songs were Let's Make Plans for tomorrow, Let's Make Plans for next week, and so on. I must have just been thinking about getting out of the house and getting back to gigging and going to gigs and stuff again.
Yeah, I mean, that's what everything was like. When when lockdown lifted, I went to about 6 or 7 gigs in that 6 weeks or so.
Yeah.
We just seen the end of it. I think I went from Billy Bragg to the Libertines to some sort of pop thing. Like I was just missing live music so much. You'll go and see anything. So obviously, when you come back, obviously you brought out these singles, Rodeo, Let's Make Plans, and Joy de Vivre, or however you pronounce it. Which I think that's they 3 singles in a row. It's a brilliant run of singles, like all of them on the album as well. They're quality after quality after quality, really. So
thank you.
That's obviously that's what I mean by the lockdowns obviously help you in that respect. Gig wise as well, that year, checking your Instagram, you played all these gigs round about Crawley, but also some big gigs, Brighton with the Magic Mod, also a headline show in Brighton. You done Isle of Wight, you done support with the Skinner Brothers, and you done support with the Vapors as well. So what were the highlights then, gig wise, for you that year?
For me, I think it's got to be Isle of Wight, to be honest. Again, with this feeling, we got weekend tickets with it, and we hired out a house. There's a group of us hired out a house, and it was just a brilliant weekend. And actually playing at the Isle of Wight was just a great feeling. Coming off stage and mixing with the people behind the stage as well. It's always good to chat to the other artists and people sort of working on it. For me, I reckon Isle of Wight.
I think as Isle of Wight immediately springs to mind, just for the whole weekend and for the experience, and say another something to add to the CV. But yeah, it was just incredible. Unfortunately, looking back, it was fortunate we played the Thursday night. So we opened this feeling stage on the Thursday night. So it wasn't open to the public yet. It was just all the campers, the weekend campers. It was just people that were just kind of gagging once they pitched their tents, got their drinks. The gates were open to the arenas, and they just came straight out to watch. And there were just hundreds upon hundreds of people all coming in. And by the end of our set, it was just incredible. And it just the whole weekend, as you say, going back to the house, and then we were literally staying on the seafront, so getting up, going for a swim in the morning to kind of get rid of the hangover in the sea, going back into the festival for 3 or 4 days. It was great. But I think independent, our own gig wise, headlining the Hope and Ruin was great for us. That was where it kind of started with this feeling as a support act. So to then be able to do 150 tickets almost by ourselves, but in return was just great. That was definitely a night that sticks out.
Yeah. Because a lot of those will come from Crawley, but there was a few new faces in there as well, which is always nice to see. And then just having sort of 100 of your mates, pretty much, like people you know and people you recognise, all in the same place at the same time, and then obviously the new faces as well.
And
It's a good feeling.
yeah, and dancing and singing along to our songs.
Yeah, right.
It's a step away from the covers and the function type band that we started out as, to then do a 45-minute set of all of our own tunes that everyone knew and was absolutely having it off to.
Yeah.
There's no buzz like it. It was just incredible.
So obviously round about then as well, with the album coming out the next year, so I take it you've been recording the album 2022 as well.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in recording an album and you're playing all these gigs and you can see yourself, you must know then, you can see the progression and you can look back to where you were and you can see where you're going. It must be a great feeling to kind of look and see that progression.
Yeah, 100%. Because I think like gigging, you need to gig a lot whilst just before you're recording the album, you need to gig those songs to really hone in on exactly how you want it to sound and what works as well. Which I think helped us because we did gig a lot before we recorded, and we were well rehearsed going in. We were quite efficient. I think we smashed it out quite quickly. There wasn't any stresses, any headaches with it.
No.
Our songs seem to come quite easily. Like we've had songs written in like pretty much 20 minutes. It's just you never really force it, to be honest.
No.
But for that comes with practicing, that comes with gigging.
And being familiar with each other, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Knowing each other's strengths and what we kind of bounce off each other once we're in the rehearsal room or recording studio.
Yeah.
That's a really confident statement as well. It's 20 minutes just polished. I've heard Noel Gallagher coming out and stuff like that as well. So
yeah. Well, Noel Gallagher talks about Supersonic, doesn't he? He said he wrote Supersonic in the time it took the band and the team to go and get a Chinese and come back. He had Supersonic written.
Yeah.
We had It's Everybody Else, which was the first single.
I think the lyrics were down.
I had the lyrics previously, brought them in, and we kind of started jamming. Charlie went outside for a fag, came back. I was like, "How are we doing?" And I just went, "Oh, we've written a song." What do you mean we've written a song?
Pretty much written all of it. We just need a riff.
Yeah.
All right. And pretty much the first riff I played, right, we'll stick with that.
Yeah. Obviously, that wasn't quite the finished piece, but it was a starting point. The base of it was written in the time it took him to go and have smoke, which we always kind of laugh about now. But the rest do take a bit more time and care, and Billy and Joe are great for that. So myself and Charlie write the lyrics predominantly. I have an idea. Billy and Joe are very clever, gifted musically, can pick things up, write things up the top of their head. That's a really good kind of dynamic we have. We all kind of, it's a 25% split between all of us. 100% technically was.
Obviously, I've not touched on that actually. So you're saying about these brothers in the band. Ever any bother with them? I know it's kind of talked about with the Gallaghers and they mention it with other bands, but it doesn't seem to be as prominent as people think.
I don't think they're as fiery as the Gallagher brothers, to be honest with you.
But what is also good is if either one of them are doing something wrong, they're quite happy to turn around and go, "You're out of tune there, mate," or like, "Slow down, why are you playing so fast?" They'll have a dig at each other in like a joking way. Whereas if it was maybe me saying to Charlie, like, "You're out, why do you play that wrong?" Or "You're playing that too fast," they'd be like, "What?" Because it's a weird thing to say. But as brothers, they can tell each other to shut up and not mean anything by it, and then carry on. But there's no real ego. There's no like.
No, you put nail on the head, really, mate. There's no ego in the band. I don't think at all. We're just four mates that get along. We don't argue. Really.
So, obviously, the following year in 2023 brought out the album. Before that, a single, Guitar Shaped Toe, which, going by the lyrics and the stuff that I've read, is that kind of like a wee tribute to Mike?
Yes.
Yeah, because it's beautiful. Obviously, different style, obviously acoustic led, totally different for the most of the stuff on the album. So it does stand out, and it's a beautiful song and a beautiful tribute to the guy.
Thank you very much.
Was that whose idea? Was that sort of conscious decision to kind of pay tribute to him for?
Again, it was pretty even share of us all writing it. I had some verses. I had the verses down, and I had maybe half of a chorus, which I thought was going to work. and I still started writing it as like almost just like a therapeutic kind of thing. Because obviously we're still in shock after he passed away, and it was just getting down thoughts on the page. And I was listening to Music When the Lights Go Out by the Libertines. Obviously, a heartbreaking song, and I thought just really connected with the tune and just sort of wrote something half to that kind of melody. Lyrics completely different, and it was just missing that hooky chorus, to be honest, which Ryan had as well.
Yeah, it was all four of us that evenly contributed to.
Yeah.
Because then Joe then went on to write the beautiful guitar part to it, and it was Joe, who's actually the drummer, recorded the acoustic on it, and it's a very talented guy, plays every instrument. He absolutely nailed the guitar parts. He wrote all of that. Obviously, Billy on the vocals, you can tell in his voice how much it all kind of meant.
Yeah.
But the song itself, I say, Charlie had a lot of lyrics, a lot of things he wanted to say about Mike, which is more sort of therapy than anything else. And then Guitar Shaped Hole just came from exactly what he had left in our community, really, within us individually, as a band, as a town, as a music kind of scene, people that were aware of him from all over the country. He was known as the guitar man, the music man that everybody loved and admired. So I think it was a perfect way of rounding it off, that there was a guitar shaped hole left in our soul kind of thing. And the chorus kind of came to me from there. And Charlie had these amazing lyrics, and it just went down so well.
Really enjoyed together, put the melody and sort of chord progression, and it was nice to have sort of an even sharing a song that does mean a lot to all of us.
It's funny, it came on, we were out in the car last Sunday, and we were in Maidenbough, and we were driving home to the mother-in-law. She stays in Furness Green, and we to get a loaf of bread, and we're driving about Crawley on a Sunday, and everything's shut. Everything shuts at 4:00. We're driving about Tesco car park, and that song came on. I don't know why. It must have been like the motor must have been logged into Spotify, and Guitar Shaped Hole came on. And the missus said, "Oh, what's that?" And I said, "Oh, I recognise that." And then I said, "Oh, that's this band." I said, "I've just been emailing. I think I've just been emailing you earlier that day." I says, "I'm speaking to this guy next week." And then that song just came on the radio, which is serendipitous. I would say that be the word for that. So the album then, as I was saying, like the kind of vibes or the influences I get for it, a bit of kind of obviously the ska kind of that you get the Toots and the Maytals sound. Obviously that song's not on it, but you kind of get that ska sound. Kind of get a bit of kind of Britpop. It sounds a bit. There's some songs sound a bit like Sleeper, and there's a couple of slower songs that sound a bit like the Blue Tones. Which obviously I spoke to Mark Morris a couple of weeks ago, so he's coming up on the podcast. But I don't know if it's just after speaking to him, I'm more aware of that. But I kind of got that sound for a couple of the slower songs as well.
Oh, great!
Was you into Britpop, or kind of
we've always covered Oasis, because Oasis just goes down well in pubs when we were doing that sort of thing.
I think it's just ingrained in British culture, and Oasis, Blur, Pulp.
I think subconsciously you listen to bands, even if we're not covering them, they subconsciously get into your style of playing.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of Bowie covers. We've done a Bowie tribute night after he passed away.
Yeah, I seen a video of that. That was really good.
Yeah. So what did we do? About 10 covers, something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, it was in 2016, weeks after he passed. It was Mike again that said, "I want to do a Bowie tribute night. I want to get all musicians, bands, artists from Crawley, anyone who wants to be involved, but I want it to be predominantly Bowie covers." So we went away and just learned anything that we could, and that definitely then sent an influence on into our own songwriting, some of the sort of chord progressions, melodies, things like that.
Well, it gives you an appreciation for Bowie, really, when you actually learn one of his songs, because some of them were just nuts, really.
Lyrically, musically, just absolutely mental.
Obviously, this year you had the album launch done in Brighton again. Which what would you consider to be your hometown after Crawley? Would it be Brighton?
Yeah, it had to be
London?
Brighton, I think that.
So you had that. You also had a run of this feeling gigs as well. Yeah, Brighton, Bournemouth, London, and then you this hang in Maidenbower Park. That's where the missus was searching through Facebook. It was before we came down to Crawley. Came up, spotted in Crawley or something it's called on Facebook, and this thing came up, live music in Maidenbower Park. And she thought, this band Slow Time Mondays, have you heard of them? And I thought, I don't think I've heard them, but I knew the name, and that's where it's came from. See, chatting back of these this feeling gigs, I've seen the name there, and that's how I was like, well, if they're on this feeling gigs, they're a decent band. So, like, obviously going back to that. So, what's that like then, playing in Maidenbower Park? Because, like, for like a hometown gig like that outdoor, that seems to be a part where there's live music on there every week.
They do a thing called Chill Out Sundays. So it's literally, it's Maidenbower Park Community Club. So it's a really nice little family-run, family-owned pub. We know the owners of very well. It's where Billy, the singer, he lives around the corner from there. So he spends a lot of his Sundays down there, watching the football, watching the music, and got to know them all very well. Again, it's very, Mike was there often for a lot of his gigs and stuff. But yeah, so we basically played out the back of the club, out onto the field. So it meant there was no capacity, there was no age restriction. People could go in and get a drink, come out and watch. And there was about 400 to 500 people turn up. And we only announced it kind of a week or so before, which was just incredible seeing all these people turn up. But it was nice. People were bringing their kids, their dogs, and there's a few kids that were down the front singing along and getting involved and wearing the t-shirts. But we gave them vinyls and CDs and stuff. And yeah, that was our first gig in Crawley since New Year's Eve. So I think that's probably why it had such a good turnout.
Yeah,
there's obviously not a lot of people can travel to these gigs around the south. Age restriction being a big thing, childcare and so on. So to have a gig where Sunday afternoon everybody could come, and we just had we played for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, did a mixture of covers, a lot of the album, had a bit of a laugh of it really.
Yeah, called Chill Out Sundays, but we opened with Joy de Vivre.
Just did all the heavy stuff.
Right, the fast pedal on. It wasn't really a chill out, to be honest.
Well, so you played that, and then it was a couple of weeks later I was done, and I was sitting in my friend's house in Maidenbower, and we could hear, obviously it wasn't yourself, but whoever it was that Sunday, and it was literally like about 200 yards away from the house, and I thought, I'd love to have been down there a couple of weeks earlier, and I'd have came and seen you. You get Truck Festival, is that tomorrow you're playing that?
Yeah, we set off in the morning.
So looking forward to that.
Yeah. Although hearing it's an absolute mud bath up there now after 2 days of rain and 40,000 people stepping all over there. But we're setting off in the morning. We've got a little bus taking us up. We've got all our girlfriends, wives, few mates coming up with us for having a day out, and yeah, it's a great lineup. We were on a really good time. We can get out, hopefully go catch the Lathams, and then go see Royal Blood, and get a couple of beers down. So hopefully some nice weather though.
And then after that, we've got, you mentioned briefly a wee mini tour in October, Manchester, Liverpool, Cambridge. So will that be your first time that far north?
Yeah, we haven't really done anything. We haven't ventured up north at all, have we?
Not gone past London really for a proper gig.
So it'll be interesting to see how we're received. I don't think we're going to be received any different up north as we are down here, to be honest. But playing in front of completely new people, it's always a good thing. I reckon we might take a bit of a crowd, a bit of interest in going up to Manchester. I think people see Manchester as a good night out, and Liverpool. So we'll probably take a bit of a crowd up with us.
Good away day.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing with this feeling. Obviously, a lot of the bands involved with this feeling are up in the north. So maybe like playing a couple of these gigs up here is going to get you into this feeling bills, maybe up there. You've got the likes of the K's, Roller, the Rosellas, there's tons of them up there.
Yeah.
So that would be a way of building an audience further up. And then hopefully, I mean, I'd like to see his falling off again up in Glasgow. Be nice to.
We were
So
just talking about that, weren't we? We were in the car earlier, coming back from practice, and the Snuts were on Radio X, and we said, well, we want to get up to Scotland. We need to get up Glasgow. It seems like a great gig. Great.
We're just
great experience.
naming all the artists that have come through in Glasgow. You got like a good scene up there, a good young scene.
I'm going to see the Snuts next week.
They're great.
I'm going to see the Snuts.
Yeah.
I mean, they're playing Friday, Saturday night in Glasgow. It's going to be massive. That's like their. Don't think they've done many festival shows this year, so this is their main kind of summer gigs. So that's going to be good. But I'd like to see he's up here. Obviously, they get a song called Rodeo as well. So
yes, which is released about a month after us. So we'll have to have a word.
Anything else you want to touch on before we go into your heroes?
I think we've covered a lot.
Yeah,
that was great.
Just obviously, actually, what about future music? What if we get any future music coming up? Are you looking at recording another album or anything like that?
It's just going to be another run of singles, I think. Now we've already got a few that we've written, and we're starting to play in our sets now. Starting to kind of drip feed them out there and get people familiar with. Then once we get this run of shows over the summer done, get back in the studio before the end of the year, get a bulk recording done, and start getting them up probably early next year.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have another 3 or 4 songs, I reckon, recorded, ready to go. Like you say, probably for now, just drip feed them slowly, and then work towards another album.
Seen one of the bands I had on a few episodes ago. This is War, band for Liverpool, and what they'd done, they were releasing a single a month. And then they just made that after they get the 12 singles, they just released it as an album.
Yeah.
But this is what I've noticed. There are a lot of different models that people are doing. It doesn't seem to be standard just releasing an album anymore. There's a lot different ways of doing it.
I think
I was just thinking to say streaming's taken over, really, hasn't it? With people's sort of attention spans, listening to a whole album in one, sort of not knowing the band. It's just people just want quick content. It's not like the days where you buy an album, listen to it starts to finish, and on the off chance the band might be good.
Yeah.
Really, it's just trying to get on all the singles. I think is the
people want to release a single because they want it to hit a certain algorithm to get into a playlist, and then people might listen to that single and go and listen to your back catalogue from there.
Yeah,
and I think that's why people just. It's that instant, put out a single, put out a video, play it.
EPs aren't a bad shout. EPs, like a 4-track EP, is not a bad shout. Get a couple of singles and then a couple of unreleased singles.
But for us, we weren't planning on doing an album originally. We had loads of singles already out there. We went into the studio initially with another 3 songs ready to go. And then Smiley, the producer, said, look, we've got an album here. We can go back, we can re-record or remaster and re-edit some of the previous stuff. You've got 11 solid tracks here. Let's just put an album out. That way you've got a piece of your work for the last 4 years already. We can then sign that off, get that out there, and then we can start pushing forward from there. So that just became our goal then. For 6 months after that, we were in the studio non-stop, getting everything re-recorded and how we played it and how we progressed as musicians, I guess. And ended up having this 11-track album.
It is important to have all them all in one place, definitely, because it's all very well and good to keep releasing singles, but you can't just hand a load of singles to somebody if you want to show them new music. It's all got to be on.
Yeah. So, I mean, touching on that as well, then, like, obviously, like I've said about how you kind of progressed through and you brought out the three songs in 2022, then Guitar Shaped Hole just before the album. So have you got management? Have you got promoters that are helping you? Or are you doing all this yourself? Because it seems
at the moment it's all ourselves, really. Obviously, this feeling promote the gigs and they put us onto the gigs. But as it stands, we're self-funded, self-managed. We run our own, all our own bookings, our own contacts.
Most of it's this man when it comes to the management side of things, taking bookings, and
organising.
Social media is a massive thing as well. Ryan does all of the social media pretty much.
it's a nightmare, mate. As I see
Yeah,
It is.
social media,
It's a
can you come
part-time
into
job.
you can come into my social media for the podcast. I hate it.
I think you've either got it in you or you haven't. Some people
Yeah,
have got
horrible.
the attention span to delve into it. Some people just can't be bothered.
But what we found is even when we were a covers band and things we were starting to get more bookings, even just for pubs and birthday parties and things like that. We would get messages sent into our either email or Facebook, and we'd all look at it, wait and think, oh, someone else will deal with that or we'll discuss it. And in the end, we had all these unread messages. So I was like, right, let me just sort it out. Let's go through and get this sorted. 7 years later, I'm still there doing everything. Yeah, no, because at the moment we're still self-funded and self-managed, but who knows?
Would you be actively looking for somebody to help kind of manage?
I think that would be just to give us a leg up to the next step, really. It's in front of the right people, gig-wise, radio-wise, PR-wise. We'd absolutely welcome a conversation, definitely.
Yeah, because we're at the stage we're still taking on advice. Any advice anybody's got for us, we welcome it 100%. We're not a finished article at all. Any steps we're taking have been forward, but we could always welcome a manager 100%.
Cool. I'll maybe pass you on to somebody, see if it works for these. So obviously the podcast called Time for Heroes, based on the Libertines because they're my heroes. And what I do is ask my guests to pick 4 heroes to come for dinner, why you've picked them, why they're your heroes, and what would you cook for them. It's up to you how you do it, whether you want to pick 2 each.
I'll do 2 each.
Yeah, okay.
Go on.
I struggled with this one a little bit. I think just because I was massively I still am into blues music, and that had a massive influence on my guitar style. Just picking one of the old boys from that, like Muddy Waters, came to head. Just because he'd had some stories to tell, you know what I mean, sort of growing up in the era he grew up in, and gigging in like the 50s and 60s. Probably would have seen some sights. Yeah, the British blues boom as well. So he had come over here and had the whole resurgence of that. And then I don't know, I'd probably still go for someone of that era, maybe like a John Lennon or just someone, like someone you could just have a good conversation with musically. Really, someone big character, I would say.
John Lennon, your favourite Beatle?
I think he was the most rock and roll, but like that his vast, like the voice he had, and
you can tell some stories.
Yeah, I mean, they were all brilliant. Don't get me wrong, but I think with John, he was just if he was the front man for me, he was. You could tell which songs were John's.
Yeah. Paul McCartney, it was all kind of pop songs and love songs, wasn't it? You could tell the political songs were Lennon's. I've always been John Lennon up until I was still John Lennon, but when I watched the documentary, the Get Back documentary, have you seen that?
Yeah.
And then you see kind of the work that Paul McCartney done there. I mean, basically him put that album together himself. The other 3 were just run the interest it really.
Right.
So it kind of I had a lot more respect for Paul McCartney after watching that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd say the first person that sprung to mind for me was Elton John. I think he would be a great guest, and again, has got 60 odd years worth of stories, and he's been there, seen it, done it 10 times over. So definitely Elton John. And I think just for the laugh and for the drink we would have all night into the early hours and possibly the next day, I think Liam Gallagher's coming around.
Brilliant.
I saw an interview the other day. I mean, it was quite an old interview, but I just came across it. And he said about somebody asking if he wanted to go to the pub for a pint. They said, "Why would I go out for 1 pint? When I go out, I want to go out and get Stephen." And I think he'd just be a great laugh. And again, he's got some stories, big character, and yeah.
What would you cook, John and Liam Gallagher?
I would. This would be my problem. I don't really cook.
Get a Chinese in.
Yeah, I think I'm just opening up Deliveroo and handing my phone around.
Well, I mean, this is a problem as well with inviting John Lennon and Liam Gallagher. Nobody's going to get speaking to John Lennon because Liam's just going to be pissed.
You're all over him.
You're not going to get speaking to either of the two.
Yeah, yeah. It'd be a diverse group, definitely.
Elton John as well. I mean, that is set at Glastonbury there. And
Huge.
whatever your thoughts are on him, like whether you're a fan or not, like sit down and watch that set, and it kind of it goes like for the 70s right through, and it touches every generation. It was probably one of the best Glastonbury sets I've seen in the last 15 years.
Incredible. And his whole band, it's the same band he's had pretty much since the start. He was saying he was introducing them, and they were just so good. And say it, it's generational. It's my nan's a fan, I'm a fan, people much younger than us are fans, and it's just an incredible collection of music. And say to a point where he was playing songs that he released in the 70s, and then bringing out artists that are literally brand new, coming out in the last few months, bringing them out on stage and then giving them the platform to go on. And
that's the thing as well. He does that. He's quite good at giving these up and coming artists a leg up. So obviously there are another bit of your management coming in where you think I'll get Elton John and they'll help us get up to the next level. That's good business for you.
Yeah, right.
We're nearly at this dream dinner party already. We'll get Elton round. Liam Gallagher won't be too far away.
Your song on the dinner table, perfect.
That's us at the end of the interview. So just before we go, if you want to tell people where they can get a hold of you, if they want to get in touch or anything like that.
Yeah, so Facebook, Instagram is just Slow Time Mondays. Twitter is STM Band UK, because for some reason there's a bloke who's already taken Slow Time Mondays but has never actually tweeted in his life.
Right.
I've hassled Twitter for years to try and get that at, and they still won't give it to us. And yeah, available on Spotify, Apple Music, all good digital stores. All of our stuff's out there. All of our gigs will be announced all on our socials. And at the moment we're easily contactable for any shows, merch, vinyls are now on sale of our album. They've literally just come in. We spent the day signing them. So yeah,
that's the funny thing. People actually are asking for signed vinyls now as well. It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Well, it shows you, as I say, it shows you you're going the right direction.
Yeah, 100%.
Right, so I'll post all these links in the description at the bottom of the podcast. But thanks for coming on the night, and enjoy Truck Festival tomorrow as well.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having us. Really appreciate it.
Brilliant, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Time for Heroes podcast. If you would like to get in touch, the best way is on the Facebook page, Time for Heroes Podcast, or on Instagram at Time for Heroes Podcast, or Twitter at Time for Heroes P1, or drop me an email at timeforheroespod@gmail.com. You'll find Time for Heroes on all podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple, Google, and Amazon. Please leave a review where you can, share with others, and more importantly, enjoy.